Wrestling fan. Why have you been going down a month?
I thought Layla died.
Yeah, right. My name is Coleslaw.
Woo! Fuck.
Woo!
I
You're
didn't know
not
you
at
were
all.
seeing.
Literally driving us mad.
Hello wrestling fans and welcome to another edition of the Supla. I'm Carmine Antonelli and God, this is where I would say with me as always, or you know, with me for the first time, or with me is anyone, but there's no one here. It's literally just me. You want to know why? Because not only is this episode a week late, because last week there was no one here and technology failed on me, so I couldn't do the live show. I decided, okay, we'll just postpone it a week and we'll get everyone together and we'll do a live show just a week late. Still no one. I'm still by myself. And I don't... Here's the thing. Andy went and did something. Don't know where the fuck he is. Can't get a hold of him. Keelan... I don't know. I can't get a hold of him either. Glenn? I don't know. I can't get a hold of him either. And we already know what happened to Brooks. I'm just stranded here on this channel like a little island. And I'm just floating on this island by myself, waiting for someone to answer my messages in a bottle. And I'm getting nothing. But the show must go on. So I'm giving you guys the Supla. Anyway, I have the news in front of me. I'm going to do this by myself because I don't need those guys. Fuck those guys. I've done it before. And by that I mean I've carried this channel before. I will do it again. So we'll just jump right into it. Brock Lesnar, this is old news, has been announced as John Cena's opponent for SummerSlam. I didn't put anything here for the news because this is where I would have discussed and debated with the other co-hosts what we think is going to happen, what we think is the long-term plan, whatever. So instead, it'll just be me saying what I think is going to happen, what I think is the long-term plan. Basically, I see Brock Lesnar winning the championship at SummerSlam because they've been trying to push Brock Lesnar as the big, imposing force of the WWE, obviously, because he beat The Undertaker, and he's, you know, carrying that torch now. He's carrying that banner. He's waving that flag that he's the guy who beat the streak. But people are kind of forgetting about it. Maybe not so much forgetting about it, but letting it go. It's not readily in their mind anymore. To the point where they have to keep showing replays from WrestleMania and they just have to keep reminding you that Lesnar beat the streak, Lesnar conquered the streak. Hey guys, remember when Lesnar beat Undertaker? That was crazy. So, I think they want to recapture that imposing force thing. What better way to do that than by beating the 15-time World Heavyweight Champion, face of the company? How many times have they mentioned that John Cena is a 15-time World Champion? I'll guarantee you this, they've said it more than 15 times. They say it every week, on every Raw, on every SmackDown, ever. Everything he's ever in. He's the 15-time World Champion. He's a 15-time World Champion. Hey guys, guess how many times Cena's been champion? 15! The fact that they keep bringing it up and they keep making such a big deal out of it. God damn, when they announced him for the cover of the video game, they said, hey, it's 2K15. That's the same number as the times you've been world champion. We'll just put you on the cover. Like, it makes me think they're going to have Lesnar beat Cena, beat the 15-time world champion in the face of the company to reinstate him as the big imposing force. What I also see happening is he keeps it for I don't know how long, because that depends on his part-timer status. Hopefully more than just a month. But if they really just can't keep it on him, I at least see it being 2 months at the minimum. At the bare minimum, he holds it for 2 months. Because at Night of Champions, they've said is probably that's going to be the event where Roman Reigns faces Triple H. And someone I work with brought up to me the fact that once Brock Lesnar becomes champion, and that's, of course, if, but I'm going to go ahead and assume he will. Once that happens, Triple H might want to take the titles for himself because Lesnar is not a part of the authority per se. Not per se, he's just not a part of the authority. He's exactly what John Cena called him. He is a mercenary. He's a hired gun by the authority to take the titles away from John Cena. I think once he has it, the authority's going to be like, okay, good job, now hand it over. Lesnar's going to be like, no, I want it. I won it, and now I want it. To keep it. Because I like it. Triple H is going to obviously assume that, or maybe they're not even going to deal with Orton and Kane, and they might bring back the history that Triple H and Lesnar have from that awful, boring feud. And they might try and tease towards Lesnar versus Triple H, but I don't see that match ever happening because no one would want to watch it. What I instead see is that Night of Champions match between Triple H and Roman Reigns becoming a number one contenders match. And that's how Roman Reigns gets his match with Brock Lesnar, and that's when he beats Brock Lesnar. And that night that he beats Brock Lesnar is when Seth Rollins cashes in. Now, this part people are debating about because people say, we've seen Mr. Money in the Bank cash in and win. We've seen him tell you when he's going to cash in and win. We've seen him tell you when he's going to cash in and lose. We've seen him not tell you when he's going to cash in and lose. We've seen every option that a Money in the Bank holder could go through except for not cashing it in for the entire year and losing the contract. Hell, we've seen him lose the contract in a match, but we've never seen the contract expire. Now you finally have an excuse to do that storyline where the contract expires because you have Ambrose. However, two problems with that. One, as great as Ambrose vs. Rollins is, I don't think they can keep the interest of the people if Ambrose runs in and screws his cash-in attempt for an entire year. After a while, people might get sick of that. Also, the title picture is bare right now. There's very few faces in the title picture, but there's even less heels because Orton does not count. He's not really in the title picture. Kane, also not in the title picture. Triple H is not in the title picture. You know who is? Brock Lesnar. How many other heels are there in the title picture? No one. You have John Cena, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar. Technically, yes, you can assume Orton's in there, but we all know he's not a legitimate member of the title picture because he's not going to win it. Daniel Bryan can maybe be considered in the title picture, but that's 3 faces to 1 heel. You need another heel in the title picture, so I do see Seth Rollins cashing in his contract and winning the title. Simply because once Brock Lesnar loses it and leaves the title picture, you literally have no heels. So, that. Yeah, I see Seth Rollins cashing in on Roman Reigns. Rollins vs. Reigns becomes the new feud. I don't know what they're going to do with Ambrose, but I do trust that they will have something in mind for Ambrose. Now, this is the part people may not agree with. I see the Rollins and Reigns feud ending with Seth Rollins on top. When he cashes in, he keeps it. He does not just lose it the next month to Roman Reigns. That would be so bad. And then, this part is tricky because no one knows when Bryan's coming back. But if he comes back within that time period, he can finish his business with Triple H and Randy Orton and all that while Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns is going on. And then once those two things finish, they come together and we get Bryan versus Rollins. That's just how I would do it. I don't know or even think that's how it's going to happen. That's just what I would do. But again, some of those things rely on things that are out of everyone's control, like Daniel Bryan. No one knows when he's coming back. Also, no one really knows the situation with Lesnar's part-time status except for people in the company. So for me to predict things based on stuff I don't know is tricky. So at the very least, I see Brock Lesnar defeating John Cena. At the very least. After that, no real clue. I'm just saying what I would do, given certain circumstances. Other than that, no real clue. Next bit of news is the gall that TNA has to claim that WWE has ripped them off. Kofi Kingston, Big E, and Xavier Woods joined forces recently on an episode of Raw. This prompted TNA's Bobby Lashley to accuse them of ripping off his faction with MVP and Kenny King. He actually tweeted, "Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery," with the little thumbs up emoticon thing. The gall of TNA to claim that WWE ripped them off. Also, the racism implied in that statement. Because the only similarity between Lashley's stable and Xavier Woods' stable is that they are that they're composed of black guys. Let's just be frank. Bobby Lashley, MVP, Kenny King, 3 black dudes. Xavier Woods, Big E, Kofi Kingston, 3 black dudes. But that is literally the only similarity between those stables. Like, Lashley, MVP, and Kenny King. 3 heels that just beat people up Evolution style. Xavier Woods, Big E, and Kofi Kingston. A tag team of misused mid-carders and their dude in a suit on the mic, Xavier Woods. It's less of a stable and more of a tag team with a manager. And they claim that they ripped off TNA. First of all, even if they did straight rip off their stable, what does it matter? That is, they need to rip off about 15 more of your stables before even coming close to what you've done to WWE. You've ripped straight storylines. At least this is just a stable. It is insane. The nerve. I mean, at least it wasn't a straight statement from Dixie Carter. But even just from Bobby. The nerve to claim that they ripped you off. And again, slightly racist. But you know, whatever. That's TNA for you. That's why they've lost their TV deal. I suppose that's more recent news than anything else on this list. TNA's lost their TV deal with Spike. They've been canceled. So I guess once their contract is up, or maybe, I don't even know. I think it's just once their contract is up, but Spike will no longer be running TNA. So now the question is, are they going to find another TV deal, or will they simply become a company of house shows, which their house shows are not doing great. There was a recent show in Kentucky in a baseball stadium that drew like maybe 100 people. So if they become a company of house shows, basically a glorified indie company, it's not going to go great for them. So there's that. I think they have the right to rip you off, TNA. So, next bit of news is CM Punk. Oh, God, more CM Punk news. Great. Well, this time he says he is done for good. CM Punk was hosting a red carpet interview for AXS TV's coverage of the AP Music Awards. So many letters. He was telling Chris Van Vliet, I don't know how to pronounce that, Vliet, that he will never, ever, that's a quote, be found inside a wrestling ring again. Now, of course, that just means wrestling, but I doubt he'll just make an appearance on Raw anytime soon. However, the part that this story doesn't translate is that there's a video of this interview, and the way he says it, the guy asks, "Is there any chance we'll see you inside a wrestling ring again?" And Punk goes, "Never." ever, 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 ever. And like he kind of just like does that snarky thing to the camera. He says it straight to the camera lens. And then he says, oh great, now they're going to hold me to that, aren't they? So it's a weird, like, you could misconstrue his tone as there's a chance. But let's just assume, for everyone's sanity, that he's legit saying he will never be back in a wrestling ring. Can we just let sleeping dogs lie and stop talking about this? Because, God almighty, I'm sick of talking about it. It's like Sting. He's there. Can we stop? Can we please stop? I'm so sick of hearing these names. CM Punk is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, but I am sick of hearing his fucking name because people will not stop talking about it. Can we stop now? Are we done? Stop. Can we please stop talking about CM Punk? Speaking of things we should probably stop talking about, again, this is slightly old news. Lana's Battleground promo causes outrage. I know this is old news, but hey, I wrote this news for last week. This would be way less old news if we had done this show on time, so don't blame me. Despite speculation, WWE has not toned down the Lana and Rusev characters because at Battleground, they've caused even more outrage when Lana was possibly referring to the downed flight MH17 with the following line, "You blame Russia for the recent current events?" Oy. Oh boy, oh boy. WWE released the following statement. And again, this is an old statement, so... Last night's segment during WWE's Battleground event was in no way referring to the Malaysian Airlines tragedy. The storyline with characters Rusev and Lana has been a part of WWE programming for more than 3 months. WWE apologizes to anyone who misunderstood last night's segment and was offended. Now here's my problem with this. What the fuck other current events could she have been talking about? Like, sure, there's Russia invading... Oh no, I forgot the name of the country. There's like 2 other things this could be, and all of them are bad. Like, just don't bring current events into this shit. That's what got Muhammad Hassan into trouble. The last time that current events worked in a wrestling storyline was in the fucking 80s. Because it was the fucking 80s. It is 2014. Stop bringing current events that are political. In a perfect world, you just don't bring current events, period. But don't bring political fucking current events into wrestling. You have a foreign character. Good enough. Don't bring war into it. Shit move. It's just mind-blowing that they're still trying this. You need to, like, every time Lana's about to go out, just say to her, go ahead and say whatever you want about America. Just ignore. Don't say anything that you might have even glimpsed from a newspaper. Just don't even think about talking about it. Please. Because then we're going to have to make some stupid statement admitting that you are simply characters breaking kayfabe on our own website to make up for it. So, just a shitty time. And even after that, they have not toned down those characters at all. They've simply stopped mentioning the fucking current events. Good. But there's still just as much Putin and even more Obama talk. And George Bush talk. So, I don't know what the fuck they're doing with that. I also don't know what the fuck they're going to be doing with TNA because their ratings jumped after their quote-unquote reboot. That referring to the taped episodes in New York City. And there was a huge jump in ratings to 1.4 million viewers. And while that's on the top end of their ratings over the course of this year, they still got canceled shortly after this. So what the fuck does it take for Spike to say, nah, you're good? You got 1.4 million, which is better than most of your shit this year. And Spike still goes, you fucking suck. Get out of here. Maybe it's because they saw the fucking house show in Kentucky. I have no idea what's going to happen at TNA. And this is the 1 year that I predicted that they wouldn't go out of business, so I swear to God. Because every year we predict that TNA is going to go out of business, and they never do. And at the beginning of this year, I said, I predict they won't go out of business. And they might! So, I don't know what the fuck's going to happen. I also don't know what the fuck's going to happen with The Rock. Because he verbally agreed to maybe having one more match in the WWE. Originally, this was going to be at the next WrestleMania, but that's no longer crystal clear. He's been talking about maybe having a match with Roman Reigns. Just vague nonsense, but he's basically said, I'd be cool with one more. Don't know when, don't know with who, don't know where, but maybe. He also said that he thinks Sting will appear in a WWE ring, and while he has appeared at a Comic-Con panel and has been announced for the video game, Sting has not been in a WWE ring yet. So even though this is old news, this prediction still has time to be a prediction. He was quoted saying, in referring to the idea that Sting will be in a WWE ring, he was quoted as saying, I do, yeah, and I know a guy or two, so we'll just put it like that. I do think he's going to come back, and I think it's going to be great. Basically, that's the confirmation that Sting will be in a WWE ring, because The Rock and the WWE are tight still. So if he knows a guy or two, and he thinks Sting's going to be back, I'm putting money that Sting's going to be back. However, I still don't give a shit. Because it's Sting. I already mentioned how the name just annoys me. And I don't give a shit if he's back or not. I don't care if he has one more match with The Undertaker. I don't care. I just don't care. You know who else doesn't care? Apparently WWE doesn't care about Ricky Steamboat because he's been cut from his Legends contract. And he's not even in NXT anymore. Apparently, he was working with NXT in some capacity. I don't fully know what. But the budget cuts caught up with him because Hall of Famer Ricky the Dragon Steamboat has been released from his Legends contract. You know it's bad when legends are getting cut from their contracts. Hall of Famers getting cut from their Legends contract. It's not like it expired like Mick Foley's. He was cut. What kind of shit is that? Here's the thing. A lot of this is old news, and I already mentioned how that's because this was meant to be last week's news, and a lot can happen in the wrestling world in 1 week. So I apologize for all the old news, but we've also run out of news. Because one man can only discuss a page and a half of wrestling news for so long. And I want to take a minute, maybe more than 1 minute, and talk about how bullshit it is that I'm here right now in this situation. Why? Why am I the one who keeps getting abandoned and left out to dry? Over and over and over again. Back in January this year, or maybe it was February, early this year, I was vilified by, and yes, I'm going to say his name, oh my god, Liam Dunn, who you all know. You're all familiar with the name. I was vilified by Liam Dunn. I don't know why. Maybe it was because I had the balls to confront him on his bullshit and call him out on his bullshit. But one reason or another, he wanted to make an enemy out of me. And he did so. Oh, did he make an enemy out of me? So I decided to fight back. I started this thing called the Ultimate Movement. Just a little, I'm going to ride on the Daniel Bryan bandwagon yes movement, and I'm going to start my own movement to fight back on Liam's bullshit. What happens? I guess the rest of the co-hosts saw me fighting back and thought, oh, I guess Carmine's just got this shit on lock. I guess I can just sit back and relax and let him do all the work, right? No. Motherfuckers, that's not how this shit works. When Liam abandoned his own channel, because that's the kind of scumbag he is, when he lost the battle and ran, I thought, I was under the assumption that this was going to become a team effort. Because when Liam was here, it was a Liam effort. And by Liam effort, I mean we did the work, he took the credit. And by we did the work, I mean I did the work. So when he left, I assumed it was going to become a team effort and we were all going to help carry the load. But that didn't happen. See, I had a show with Glenn Fielding called the Total Divas Review Show. I say had, technically I still have it, it's just under hiatus. Because Glenn, for good reason, for personal reasons, had to take a break and go do other things in his personal life. At the time I said, okay, go do what you gotta do, we'll put the show on hold. It's fine, bro. It was the most popular show on the channel, and I said, go ahead. Take your break. Take your sabbatical. The definition of a sabbatical, for those of you unaware, is an extended vacation. Paid. Now, we don't get paid here in the Supla, so that part doesn't matter. But Glenn has lived up to the term sabbatical. Because that was almost 4 months ago. Also, on his sabbatical, he has made time, when convenient, to show up on the main show and be a part of things. Fine. What the fuck? If you can do that, why can't you do TDR? I don't know. Here, hold on. I'm going to do an impression of Mr. Andy Kwan for a second. You ready for this? Hey guys, I'm just gonna go take a break for no reason. It's not like I'm the fucking most recognizable name on this channel. It's not like I'm the face of this channel since Liam left. I'm just gonna go leave. Have fun. It's not like I need to stick around and do anything. I'm just the most loved guy here. Whether it's Team Liam or Team Carmine, everyone loves Andy. But fuck off, I'm just going to take a break for 2 weeks and no one's going to hear from me. It's great. It's not great. It's not great, Andy. You can't just fucking do that whenever. No warning. On the last episode he was on, before we went on the air, he told us, hey, I'm not going to be on next week. And then me, Keelan, and Glenn said, okay, we'll take care of it. But guess what? Keelan couldn't be there either. But he didn't let us know until the last fucking second. Hours before we went on air, Keelan goes, oh, I'm not going to be there. He runs the live stream. So I had to take that. I had to take that over. I ran the live stream last week. But guess what? The reason there was no episode is because technology failed on me. And I had no backup. So we were just fucked. Because I was left with no backup. And then there's Brooks, who for whatever reason has decided he was way too frustrated to deal with this YouTube channel. We had another popular show, The Raw Review. We were becoming the most talked about show on the channel. Me and Brooks, Team Bear. nothing anymore. It's just me on that show. It's just me on this show. It's just me on every show. When I first started on this channel, all I did was the Let's Play, which was a solo show, but that's fine because I had the video game to basically be my co-host. I would feed off of what it gave me. That's what co-hosts do. They feed off of each other. They help each other. When all of my co-hosts leave, I'm left with nothing. And while I very well could do this by myself, fuck it, I'm doing it now. While I could do this by myself, I could record everything, edit everything, upload everything, do all the social media, plug it everywhere, every week. I'm not going to do that. Next Wednesday, August 6th, people will hopefully be back. Keelan will be back. Glenn will be back. Andy will be back. And when that happens, I am going to demand, not an apology, because I don't think they'll have the balls to apologize. What I'm going to demand is that they share the load. They help me carry the fucking workload, because while, again, I could very well carry this channel by myself, and not all the fans like me. I understand that. I am not the most popular guy on this channel. But what no one can argue is that I do the most work on this channel. Without me, this channel has nothing. Just take a minute to comprehend something for me. Take a minute to comprehend the fact that if I did what Liam did, if I did what Glenn did, if I did what Brooks did, where would all of the content that this channel puts out be? Raw Review would be gone because Brooks quit anyway. Total Divas Review is gone anyway, but it would have no hope of coming back because Glenn doesn't seem to really want to officially come back. He just wants to pop in now and then. So that's 2 shows gone. Let's Play's gone. That's 3. No one's going to carry that shit for me. The least viewed show on the channel with the most work put into it. Oh no, that show's not going anywhere without me. So that's 3 shows gone. And apparently, this show, the main show, the show that started everything, wouldn't have happened. There wouldn't have been a Supla this week if it weren't for me. Comprehend that. I may not be the most popular person on this channel, but without me, there is no channel. There is no Supla. There is no Raw Review. There are no Let's Plays. There is nothing without me. And that's just a fact. Am I happy about it? No. Do I like being that guy? The guy who takes everyone's responsibilities that they don't want? And while I can handle them, I don't like being that guy. I don't want to be that guy. I want to be part of a team. That's what I loved about joining the Supla, is that I was part of a team. I already had my own YouTube channel. I didn't need to join this one just to be left alone again. I already had that at youtube.com/nonoakimbo. I didn't need to be the only one doing shit here. That's just how it happened to play out. So what I'm going to do next week, August 6th, when everyone is hopefully back from their random vacation, I'm going to demand that they take responsibility for the shit that they created. Andy will share the workload. Keelan, here's a story about Keelan. People know that we have a Facebook chat room. All the Supla crew, we have a chat room I've nicknamed it the boardroom, spelled B-O-R-E-D, because it's a pun, and I was trying to be clever, and I was trying to bring some sort of joy to the Facebook chat, because every now and again it's a dreary, empty place where no one says anything. No one communicates every now and again. But every once in a while, back when Brooks was a part of the team, me and him would throw ideas around. Hey, what if we did this? What if we did that? Something to spruce up the channel. How about this new show idea? Would people like to see this, that, the other thing? Keelan always jumps in and says, hey guys, this is just a podcast. It's just a YouTube channel. Don't put too much effort into it. It's not like you can make a career out of this. It's just a hobby. It's not like people with YouTube channels have successfully made careers out of it. It's not like people have proven you can make a living off of this. So quit getting your hopes up. Quit putting the work in to try and make a dream come true. Just be lazy about it. Just don't show up. Who cares if there's no Supla this week? There's no money in it. Really? So when they all come back, I'm going to demand that they share the workload. Whether they like it or not. And most likely they won't. Because effort isn't fun. It isn't as fun as going out every Tuesday and getting drunk to the point of having a hangover the next day. Oh no, it's Wednesday. That's when we do the Supla. And darn it, Dangus, I'm hungover again. You'd think that they've learned their lesson. Andy and Keelan always show up hungover. And I wouldn't mind so much if it weren't for the fact that they are not the most fun people when they're hungover. And I imagine being hungover is not a fun experience. I wouldn't know. But I imagine it's not. I imagine it sucks being hungover. The headaches. Everything's probably way too loud for you right now. You just don't want to deal with it. So having to do an hour-long show where you're supposed to be funny, that's difficult. I don't wanna. Because I'm hungover. Because I made the decision to go out last night when I know damn well I have a show to do today. But that doesn't matter. There's no money in it. So I'll just go get drunk. And then when I come to work hungover the next day, who cares? It's just a little YouTube thing, right? Whatever, man. I'm done carrying your shit. From this point on, I am dropping everything that is not strictly mine, and I am giving it back to you. If you take it, good. We can move on. If you don't, it dies. I am sick of taking care of this thing. It's like a single mother making minimum wage, trying to take care of her child, when there's damn well people who can help but won't. I'm done. Consider this me putting a child up for adoption. You either take it or you don't. The choice is yours, gentlemen. But I'm done. The Let's Plays will continue. Raw review will continue. This show, I will not carry by myself. I refuse. And that's just that. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hopefully, I will see you next week. But if there's no show next week, just know this. There also won't be a show the week after that. And there also won't be a show the week after that. And there won't be a show ever again. Because if there's no show next week, then that means Keelan, Andy, and Glenn were no shows. And there's simply no show anymore. Bye.